Boom, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. This is going to be a quick, fun video today. I saw it very recently. I feel like I've been reacting too much to the podcast, whatever's clips, but in fairness, there is a ton of good content there, but I just don't want to get too streamlined on them and only discussing topics in and around their channel. So this is probably going to be the last reaction that I do from that show for a little while, unless there is some fire that comes down the pipeline. But this video illustrates just how differently men and women view sex. The purpose behind sex for men and women, the primary motivation for sex, between the difference between men and women. And to me, this is always the topic that is the most laughable to me, and just completely misunderstood, because it is so obvious. And there's going to be many of you who listen to what I'm about to say here and are like, duh, of course men and women view sex in a very, very different light. But I guess to some, it is not that obvious. And more specifically, it's apparently not that obvious to women, because I think, especially when you hear some of the reactions to how women, or when you hear some of the reactions that these women have to some of the questions and some of the points that are brought up on some of these relationship channels, it shows that a lot of these modern women want desperately to view or to be able to have sex in the same way that a man can, and to have the same motivations. And, you know, in other words, women want desperately to be able to just have sex with whomever they want, whenever they want, like a man can. And it's just not that simple. It's just not. Not only is it biologically not that way for them, but more specifically, emotionally, that's not their imperative. So we're going to dive into this video here. Let me share the screen right quick. I hope all of you kings are having a phenomenal week thus far, and we're gonna dive right into it. So here we go.
I don't think that any women should be having premarital sex if they're trying to find a serious, long-term, monogamous relationship,
Do you
especially
think,
marriage.
but do you think having premarital sex precludes?
Now that's an interesting point. I wasn't necessarily thinking I was gonna react to this chick's first point. She's probably the most based of the chicks on this panel. That's an interesting one, because on one hand, in a perfect world, I would agree with her that is the best choice for a woman, to hold it for as long as possible until a relationship is on the table. And even her saying this illustrates how men and women have different imperatives, because just by way of her saying this shows that the primary use of women having sex, or a huge use of it, or goal from it, is to gain a relationship, which is very interesting. So in a perfect world, I would say yes. However, we don't live in a perfect world. And what Mary doesn't understand is there's a lot of women out here who are giving it up for free. And it's kind of hard to compete with that, because the sad fact is there are a good amount of men who would be willing to settle for a chick who only has a couple bodies, but she still has a couple bodies, but she's super hot, and they're willing to look past a couple bodies because they get access before marriage. So I'm just not sure that necessarily is the best advice to give to women. But I would probably have to, in this day and age, but I'd probably have to think about it a little bit more. And then on top of that, don't even get me started on these born again virgins, which is just that's just not that just doesn't fucking count. Okay. But there are sadly a bunch of those. And in my eyes, once you give it up, it's up, it's gone. You're not reclaiming that V card. So anyways, let's keep watching.
You from having, I don't suspect that's your position, but do you think it precludes women from being able to get a long-term relationship or marriage?
Well, it depends on the level of discernment they have. I mean, if you're in a long-term monogamous relationship where you're having premarital sex, then, you know, that's certainly possible, but I think your relationship can only succeed in spite of that.
Now, Mary, this girl who's talking, is Catholic, I believe. So she should just come on over to the Orthodox side and leave all that nonsense behind.
It delays commitment from men. What is, I mean, essentially, I'm not saying that sex is the only thing that women can offer.
Sometimes, but I do think that there are a good amount of situations as well where a woman gives it up, but she also has a low body, comparatively low body count, and a guy will almost see her giving it up as like, he'll basically reward that, in other words. So there are circumstances where that's not fully true, and a guy will look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to reward the fact that, you know, you have given this to me, you know, yada, yada, yada. So I wouldn't say that that's always true, but generally speaking, I would say, yes, that is true.
Offer, but that is a huge thing that you're just giving up before there's been any sign of commitment from a man. I mean, essentially, like, not having premarital sex incentivizes a man to commit to you in a huge way. It shouldn't be the only incentive, certainly.
Sure. Are you religious? Are you Christian or?
I'm Catholic, yeah.
Catholic. Okay. Well, I mean, that certainly makes sense within in a religious context.
But I also think it makes sense in a secular one.
Sure, I agree with you. However, I think the dating landscape as it is currently, you know, I think definitely most people are not waiting until marriage.
Yeah.
So.
They aren't.
Yeah. I mean, what is the term? The genie is out of the bottle. I mean,
not for individuals. I mean, individuals can make what.
By the way, just my 2 cents here. And this absolutely illustrates that men find purity and fertility the most attractive qualities in women. To me, just aesthetically, there are probably 1 or 2 better looking women than her. But you put it all together and just her very feminine vibes, and I'd say she's the best one up here. And I think a lot of men would feel the same way.
Whatever choices they want. And, you know, if you've had premarital sex, that doesn't prevent you from making the choice to wait with a certain person as well. But it is proven.
Born again virgin.
And that, like, with the number of sexual partners that a woman has before marriage, it exponentially increases the likelihood of divorce.
No, you're right.
Even with just 1 partner. And 2, like, low body counts.
Yeah. Well, the more premarital sex.
And again, now I did a video on that stat, and it's not necessarily as clear cut as I would have hoped, but it does seem that is mostly true. And, you know, again, that just illustrates the design. See, for me as an Orthodox Christian who believes in in an intelligently designed universe, that to me speaks of the intelligence in the design, that everything has a purpose, a reason behind it, and it's not a surprise that women are that way. It's not because they aren't meant to have more than one man. They're meant to just have one. It's that simple.
Sexual partners you have, the greater likelihood of reporting relationship dissatisfaction, the higher likelihood of infidelity, higher likelihood of divorce. Yeah. So
I'm not like a statistician or whatever. I mean,
they've done studies on it.
Yeah.
They've definitely done studies on it. But I think the thing is that women control access to sex. So women dictate whether there is a hookup culture or not.
Yeah.
So while men, to some degree, and really it's the top tier of men, the top 10, top 20% of men, to some degree, obviously play into it. Men will obviously welcome easy access to sex. However, at the end of the day, women are the ones who decide when.
And again, really the only ones who benefit from easy access or this whole hookup culture are the top 10, 15% of men. Some would argue it's really only the top like 5% of men, but I'd say it's probably the top 10, 15% of men. Certainly doesn't benefit women because, again, they cannot have sex like men can, even with birth control, because emotionally they can't handle it. They can't take it. So yeah, I mean, that's just what it is there. So in the end, what she's saying is that the more partners a woman has, the tougher it becomes for her to pair a bond with one individual. And as you'll see down the line, and this is the most mind-numbing thing of this whole thing, is even in this day and age, most women believe they want to get married. Now, it's a whole different topic of the idea that women want weddings, but they don't truly want marriages. That's a totally separate topic. But let's just go with what they say, that they want to be married, that they want to be wives. Okay. It is so hilarious that they say that, yet everything they do before that is as destructive towards that end result as possible. It's the definition of insanity. Anyways, let's keep watching. By the way, if I were to rate all these girls, I'd probably go blonde 1. I'd probably go this. Well, actually, let's go back. I was saying just looks wise. Okay. Overall, I think it's the Mary chick, but I'd probably go blonde 1, this chick here 2, and I'd say it's probably a tie between the OnlyFans chick and Mary. I think they're both cute. Not digging the whole orange what the fuck hair here. She's not terrible, but anyways.
When sex happens.
Yeah.
So if we want to see us straying away from a hookup culture, women are going to have to lead the charge on that. I think men perhaps have some, if you want to be really tradcon, you can say men have some role in terms of being leaders in that realm, but the difference is men have different sexual strategies. So, and this is on a biological evolutionary level. So men's sexual strategy is to basically spread the seed, because we can impregnate 30 women in a month, whereas as a woman, you can only get pregnant in that last 9 months, right? So women's sexual strategy is get the best man that you can get, whereas men, it's sleep with as many women as you can get. In terms of a sexual strategy. Now, in terms of having children, obviously men are going to want to have, want to be there to raise the child, but that's a different conversation. But the way the dating landscape is that men are not really incentivized to commit because women will have sex with a dude on the first, second, third date.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's, I don't think that's necessarily wrong, but that would explain where we find ourselves with hookup culture. And I don't think men or women are particularly satisfied with the status quo.
No, they're not.
So
I don't think they're willing to admit maybe the reasons why they're not satisfied with the status quo of dating right now, because it requires them to look at their own behavior.
Does anyone on this side of the table would like to say anything?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Airheads.
All right.
I just think like if you are like in a relationship.
When it's date night, there's only one
Dang,
thing
it's
I'm
like,
thinking
come on,
about.
girls, fucking put your 2 cents in there. That's why you're on the show.
But if you think that you're gonna be with that person like forever, I don't see
You
like
can
what's
think
the harm.
that about a lot
What's
of
the
people.
harm? What's the harm in like having sex before marriage.
Yet again, this shows exactly how women view sex, because when a chick has sex with a man, she has to, unless she, and even this is the case, unless I was going to say, unless she's like drunk and has to get herself saucy in order to, but even still, they have to emotionally go through the rigmarole of like this acceptance and internal, yes, I am going to be with this man. It's a total internal thing that they basically have to buy into to this man and the future. And part of that is them thinking what she just said, which is, I'm going to be with this guy forever. Men don't think that way at all. At all. Which, and again, as she said, that's just silly. 9 times out of 10, especially now, whoever you have sex with, you're not staying with them forever. Especially with this divorce rate. Yeesh.
You can think that you're going to be with a lot of different people forever, and you can't just go off of emotions. Like, they can be very deceiving. And, you know, even loving someone can't always last forever.
Hold on.
Super chatted $99.90. Sex happens.
I really appreciate it, man. Okay, so could be the first night.
There's no rule for me, but like definitely not like soon.
So this is the main thing that I wanted to share with you guys and watch and react to is the girls. Do they have a rule of how many nights or whatever period length of time they make a guy wait for sex? All right, here we go. Let's finish watching this.
Like, you know, like months.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd say like when the time feels right, but definitely not within the first like few times we're hanging out.
Okay, what about you?
That's such bullshit, by the way. Such fucking bullshit. Anybody who is remotely a Chad knows that that's total bullshit. When a chick totally accepts that, or is going after a man that she knows is better than her, and genuinely desires him, she's in the palm of his hands. And, you know, usually she can only hold out maybe one date, maybe one night. In my experience thus far, it's just never been the case. And I've, you know, been with girls who say they're religious, the whole 9 yards, and just generally speaking, that's just not true. And usually they'll put on a front of, you know, not tonight, or, you know, I don't want you to think I'm this, and it's this whole game, but it really only lasts for 1 or 2 nights. But anyways, I just want to point out, I think that's total fucking bullshit.
Personally, I have like, it's like my own sort of rule that I guess like the next person that I do have sex with will probably like be my boyfriend. Like I'd be in a relationship with them, just because for me, like, sex is obviously like very personal. Like it's an intimate thing to do with someone. So, you know, that's just my own preference though, like to each their own. But like for me, if I was to have sex with someone, it would have to be the next person that I'm in a relationship with.
Okay.
Yet again, evidence that women need to have that. They need to be able to internally buy into that man before they allow him to enter her. That's just the best way that I can put that.
Next person so you would want to, because of what you currently want, would you want to wait?
Honestly, like in my opinion, it's not like a big thing for me. Like it's not like when I meet someone, that's not like the first thing that I'm thinking. Like I think that emotional intimacy is something that you build with someone. And so therefore, like when I'm in a relationship, like that would be something for me and my partner to discuss, figure out, like going through the relationship.
So you mean discuss having sex?
Yeah, or like, you know, just what like it's, I guess, boundaries, like what you're comfortable with, like moving forward. I mean, like, because there's a difference when you first start dating someone versus like you've been dating for months or years, and obviously there's like it's boundaries.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you two said kind of wait a while, or
Yeah, well, until like feels right, obviously, but like not soon. Like,
Not
as soon as,
soon.
like,
I think there are hazards in serial monogamy as well, though. Like,
Very true. Serial monogamy is just as big of a problem, but yet again, that's an example of this kind of negotiated contract. It's an example of this modern day negotiated contract that exists between men and women. You know, I'm not going to make you wait tons of time like we used to with my brother and father vetting you first, but I'm still going to make you wait a little bit of time. And you still give me a good amount of the traditional aspects that I find attractive in men. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up in about 2 minutes here.
like if you're in a bunch of exclusive monogamous relationships, whether they're short or long term, and you have sex with each of those people because you're in a relationship, I don't think that standard really works, because it still is like inhibiting your ability to pair bond in the future. So whether you're only having sex with people that you're official with or you're hooking up with strangers, it's equally inhibiting your ability to pair bond with a, forever lifetime partner. In fact, maybe the serial monogamy is worse because your emotions are far more involved with each breakup.
That's a good point.
Okay, so you said a while.
I've only dated 2 people, honestly, and like, so I'm only 18.
Yeah.
Okay, you've only dated 2 people, and you've
Yeah.
only hooked up with 2 people.
Yeah.
What?
But what do you mean by hook up? Like
sex?
Oh no, I've had sex with 2 people.
Okay.
But I hook up
What
with
about you?
What
Six.
the fuck?
That's-
She goes. She goes. What do you mean by hookup? Like kiss? But it didn't even make a difference. He goes, no sex, and she goes, oh yeah, 2. It's like, wait. Why did you even ask that? Do you not kiss when you get fucking railed? Oh my god. What do you mean? See, that's the shit girls always do to finagle their way out of accountability.
Well, what do you consider hookup?
Sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6.
1.
One? Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
So this blondie has had 6 guys enter her. That's what that means.
Question
Yeah,
now?
so the original question was, is how long do you think you should wait until having sex?
I think it just depends on the vibes. On the vibes.
Like,
On the
while
vibes.
having sex.
I think it just depends on the vibes.
I think it just depends on the vibe.
What is the question?
Yeah,
now?
so the original question was, is
1.
one? Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
What is the question?
Yeah,
now?
so the original question was, is how long do you think you should wait until having sex?
Come on,
I think
bimbo.
it just depends on the vibes.
Like 3-date rule? Like,
No, I don't have a rule. I'll fuck on the first date.
okay, you'll fuck on
It's
the
like,
first
what
date.
are you
Yeah,
trying
for
to
sure.
I'll fuck on the first date. Like, fuck it.
do?
What are you trying to do? Let's
I'll
go.
fuck on the
okay.
first date. Like, what are you trying to do? That's what she said.
Okay.
So I've
I'll
been,
fuck on the
like,
first date. What are
waiting
you
a
trying
really
to
long
do?
time, to the point where no one else is willing to wait that long.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Wait, so, okay, can you expand on that? You've been waiting a really long time. What does that mean?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wait, so, okay,
Really vibes.
okay.
So I
Fuck on the first date.
Okay, you'll fuck on
It's
the
like,
first
what
date.
are you
Yeah,
trying
for
to
sure.
do?
What are you trying to
What
do?
are you trying to do?
Let's go. Okay.
would say like a 3-date rule, but really vibes.
Okay.
So I've
3-date rule. You're on OnlyFans. What are you talking about?
been like waiting a really long time, to the point where no one else is willing to wait that long.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Wait, so, okay, can you expand on that? You've been waiting a really long time. What does that mean?
Yeah, like I just really like thoroughly want to get to know someone, but yeah, I think they are kind of thinking that maybe, eventually like 5 dates in or something it's going to happen, but I'm like really waiting until I feel a really strong connection with someone and I know that they feel that connection with me emotionally. And that even though I've felt that and thought that they were feeling the same thing, eventually when I keep saying like, oh, but I just want to wait a little bit more, then they'll all just
See, that was the best answer yet, illustrating what I'm talking about. She just flat out said it. I need that connection. I need to keep it going until I feel that emotional, until I have internally and emotionally felt okay with this man. So that's exactly what it is. Men, don't ever let women fool you into thinking that they can sleep around and have sex like men do. All these chicks who run around here talking like men do when it comes to sex in general, it's all a farce. It's total nonsense. It's totally fake. By and large, it's disgusting. Men don't even want women talking like that. And again, it's just not reality. And even they know it. It's just my anecdotal take on it is I think some girls think that men find that attractive because some fucking bums find that attractive. But then also in general, it's just the feminism angle where it's like, well, I can do anything that you can do, but better. I can do anything because I'm a woman. That type of shit. And so therefore, they're trying to run the streets like a man could. Now, again, in modern times, most men aren't even running the street like that. So we're in a really tough situation. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to highlight this video to show unapologetically that women and men absolutely view sex, the act of sex, completely different. They have different imperatives. They have different goals. They have different things that they're looking for. They have different benefits that they're trying to get out of it. So never mistake that fact. By the way, if you're not subscribed, smash that fucking subscribe button. Support a fellow king out. Like, comment, share. This channel is rolling along. And I thank all of you for being here. Last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy with all facts or feelings because your feelings just don't matter. See you kings next time. Peace.